Welcome to the third Feature Friday. Today, we are featuring Andy's VW Bluebird bus. This vehicle is truly unique and such a beautiful piece, I had to feature it. Right, so we'll have a walk around first. So as mentioned, this is a VW Bluebird bus. It's got a unique vinyl wrap all down the sides, the front and the back. Full glass all the way around. Is that an original front badge?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is, yes.
Currently hooked up to the 240 mains. I'm just with Andy now, who's the builder and the owner of this fantastic vehicle. Now, Andy has kindly said he doesn't mind being on camera too much, but I won't push my luck. So Andy, obviously this is an awesome vehicle that you guys have built.
Oh, cheers.
Can you give me a little bit of a background behind it? Like, when did you have it? Am I right in thinking it was a like a lockdown, a UK lockdown build?
Yeah,
was it like
it
a
was.
family effort? If you could.
Yeah, I mean, we bought it just before lockdown, and it was, as it was, a bus.
Yeah.
With the seats and everything in there. And we haven't had any experience in doing this sort of thing before, so I wasn't sure we'd actually be able to do it. But
Okay.
my wife, my daughter and I, we sort of thought, let's give it a whirl. Bought it, drove it home, started taking the seats out and everything else, and really just went from there.
Oh,
Just
okay.
went from there. So we did it all ourselves, with the exception of the tinting of the windows and the vinyl wrap on the bonnet, but everything else we did ourselves. So
Did
we're really
yourself.
pleased with the result.
Awesome. So obviously the world has been hit by the COVID crisis. So Andy and his family decided to try and use the lockdown time almost in a positive light and create such a unique, beautiful vehicle like this. What I will do now is I'll add a couple of photos of what it was like when Andy and his family purchased this vehicle, just so you can get a grasp of exactly what workmanship they've done, how good they've done it, and what they've turned this bus into. So as you've just heard, Andy's obviously said that they've done everything themselves on this vehicle, bar the tints and what was it? The vinyl wrap. So the vinyl wrap on the bonnet only, they did the rest themselves, and the tints. He's never done anything like this before. They was a bit anxious whether they could do it, and honestly guys, I'm here today to show that the average family, if I can say that with the almost, you know, the most respect possible, can create such a beautiful thing like this. And honestly, I wish mine was so good as this inside. So we'll move on. So here guys, this was an original was it London bus?
Yes, yes.
So this was originally used for a bus with disabled access in London. So it's got electric opening doors like that, as you would have on your normal bus that I'm sure any of you have caught before. So entering the vehicle, yeah, look at that. This is awesome, guys. So straight away, the first thing that hits you compared to the stuff that I'm used to is the height and the size. And I think Andy and his family have kept that and been able to complement that truly with the way they've done this layout. So clearly you can see they've got the beds at the back, and then they've got the cooking area, the tables, the seating area, everything first. So you hit that as soon as you enter the vehicle. So you've got the driver's seat. So Andy, obviously this is automatic.
Yes,
I can see that. And does this ride on air suspension, does it?
It does ride on air suspension, and the suspension's kind of cool actually, because you can do lots of different things with it. You can change the height, you can get it to lean to one side so you can get in easy.
Okay.
You can get it to raise up, so if you need to get underneath and have a look. So it's really cool what you can do with it.
I suppose that's all designed for accessibility for disabled and just general public.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I've obviously mentioned that this was a family effort. I've shown the guys the pictures of when you bought it and some of the little strip out pictures. What started this? Was it like, have you always been into camping? Have you never done it before? I know you mentioned you've never built one.
Yeah.
So was there an underlying kind of bug there or an itch to do it, or what was the initial?
I mean, we've been camping before, and we had tents in the past. And the problem with tents is you sort of put them in the back of the car, you drive to the place, you've got to remember, make sure you bought all the pegs and everything else. And so there's that before you even can start enjoying the break.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready to come home, you got to pack all the thing up and everything else.
Yeah.
And we just sort of thought, maybe there's a better way of doing this.
Yeah, okay.
And so that was the motivation, really. So,
so, and to be honest, I agree with that, because I think as humans, if we've got not a way out, but if there's any little excuse to not go or be negative, is generally what we as human beings tend to like veer towards.
Sure.
So I've honestly got to say, this is a fantastic build. What you and your family have achieved here is phenomenal, especially adding the fact that you guys are not pros, you've never done this before. So looking round, is this original ceiling material?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So this blue kind of suede is the original Bluebird material that I would use. Is this Skylight's original also?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Which is a great addition because it gives you that light into the vehicle. It's very bright in here now, and we haven't got any lights on or anything. And although it's got glass all the way around, you do lose a little bit of light when you tint them. But obviously Andy and his family wanted some privacy, so the windows had to be tinted. That is definitely a must. You guys can see there at the back, there is the double opening door. Is that still functioning, Andy? Or?
Yes, it's still functioning, yes.
So realistically, if you can get in a nice place on the beach, you could actually open that and have a great view, let some wind through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. So the double bed here, I can clearly see there's a double at the bottom and a single at the top. Yeah. Is that because, do you go with your family, or is there three of you, or have you got two kids? Or
so there's three of us. There's myself, my wife and our daughter. And originally what happened was with the bed, it's an interesting one because we bought that as just a single bunk, top and bottom. And I was using a sort of pull-out mattress. And my wife said, look, we've got to be able to do something better than that. So what I did was I built a wooden frame to extend the lower single bed, if you like.
Yeah, makes sense.
Change the mattress over, and it just made a really good double. And
awesome.
I think having this space, this being so big and having the space, it doesn't really take up as much space as I thought it would have in the double there, and it just worked out really, really well. I think if I were to do one in future, I would probably build the beds from scratch though, rather than sort of buy a bunk and do all that. I just build it from scratch. I think that's probably some of the confidence I've built since doing this one. Really,
you've developed those feelings from having built this one, haven't you? It's only the same for me. I've done things on that which now I think if I built another one I would do this differently, or I might even change it in the future. So basically what Andy mentioned there was this was actually a double single bed.
That's right.
And then what he's done to create the extra space is under here he's made an extra addition, an add-on to the single at the bottom to then get your double and then your single bed above. And honestly, it looks great, guys. Obviously, he bought it, he mentioned, and then he's added to it. But it fits perfect. And to be honest, if he'd have said to me that they made this specifically for this van, this bus, I would have believed him. One little touch that I really like is you can see they've kept a few of the original seats, which I'd imagine these seats, Andy, was the van completely kitted out with those seats front to back.
Yeah, it had seats on both sides, front to back, so we took a load of the seats out. And the reason I left those two seats there, and we really like them, is because they're sort of floating. They pivot out and pivot back in, so they mount on the side of the of the chassis, I guess. And so, like that one you can see on the side, you can just open that one back out and put it out of the way. So we put it out of the way when it's not in use, but when it needs to be used, we just turn a lever and you can slide that one out.
Ah, okay. So that's because I did look at that one and just thought, oh, he's left it there for looks.
Right.
It's not functioning anymore.
Oh, yeah.
However,
Fully
it is fully functioning. You can just pivot and swivel it round.
Yeah.
I love that little feature that they've left in this vehicle with the original seats. Obviously, is this the original position, or have you moved a couple of them?
No, they're the original positions.
So not only they're the original positions, they're the original seats, and he's just made the furniture around the original seats, like have your workspace, your eating area, your table. Obviously there's 3 of you guys, is that correct? So there's obviously 3 seats, there's enough for the family.
What we do here when we're using the table is we'll have that seat out and we slide that out and one of us sits on there. It's like a little seat.
Okay, perfect.
So it just works out really well. This seat was facing the other way originally, but it had on-wing tracking, so we're able to just turn it around and fit it this way round.
So yeah, so touching on it again, he left the original seats in. Do you mind if I sit on them? Sit on one of them?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
And to be honest, they're really comfortable. Because they're for a public vehicle, they'll be very hard wearing as well. So they won't rip easily. That they're probably manufactured to put up with a little bit of stick. Really, they should almost outlast the bus in a sense. So he's made the furniture around these seats to fit. So here you've got a space for your laptop, a space for food, eating. The kids can play, colouring books, reading books, all that kind of stuff. He's got one here, one there also, and then the one here which is tucked away, but it does swivel out and pulls out. Andy, obviously looks like there's a kind of curtain rail all the way around. Obviously I can see that it's 4 curtains for privacy at night. Are these like an IKEA buy, or have you manufactured these? Or
No. I mean, we haven't manufactured anything. We've just bought the stuff. So I think these were probably from Amazon. My wife got those from. The curtains were probably from some curtain place, and my wife made them fit, altered them to fit. But everything. I mean, these cabinets were IKEA. Cabinets. I think the worktop was from Wix. We did all the cutting and everything else, but this fridge is just an ordinary fridge, a microwave. So we haven't sort of had anything specifically made. We just used stuff and got it to fit, and it's come together really well. So
awesome.
I'm
and
really happy.
Honestly, that's part of the excitement for me to do this feature, because not only does it show that you can sometimes use a negative time, i.e. a lockdown, and turn it into a positive time, or a productive time, a creative time, but also it does actually show the average family can create an absolutely fantastic vehicle like this. They've created a brilliant build like this, but yet they haven't been in the garage day and night cutting things, welding things, making things, fabricating things. They've almost, with the most respect I can give you and your family, it's almost like not a catalogue build, but they've used stuff that's readily available on the market. They can order, and they've just made sure they've got the right measurements, the right lengths. They've checked everything. They've still had to do that pre-work themselves, and then when they've come, they've obviously just modified them to then suit their needs in this vehicle. Like Andy said, this is IKEA units, but honestly, I've seen some 60, 70,000 pound campers, and the companies, although they make them from scratch, they end up like this. This to me is a high-end finish. This looks absolutely phenomenal. It's got the locks on and stuff, so I'd imagine the stuff isn't like swinging out and all that kind of stuff when you're using it. Like you said, he's got a full fridge. He's got a normal fridge. Because of the bigger vehicle, it allows Andy and his family to have like better things, if you like, than what I can have. I have to have a tiny fridge or a cool box. Because of the size of this vehicle, he can have bigger things, better things, almost more comfortable things. So not everyone's comfortable driving a big vehicle, but also not everyone's comfortable being crammed in a little vehicle. So depending on your budget, depending on your driveway, your size, your comfortability, it is a possibility that something like this could fit your needs, your family's needs, and you could massively benefit and enjoy life from building something similar to this. As I've mentioned, it's a full-size fridge. And he's got a full-size microwave and a nice-sized TV. He's got solid worktops which you can wipe down easily. You can cut, you can prep food on them. He's got what you would class as a full-size sink. You've got a drain-off area. You know, this guy's is house standard stuff. And he's got these cupboards here that I won't show too much of inside, but obviously they open and they've got comfort closing. So you've got these two cupboards here, and then the end one is actually what you will call like a slide out cupboard, like a drawer, like a drawer style cupboard. But look at that, comfort closing. And as I've mentioned, because you can lock them like that, nothing's opening, nothing's moving around, rattling while he's driving. That just shows a quality build. Did these come on these cupboards, Andy, when you bought them, or did you add them on? Or
my wife actually looked for those, and she thought they'd be suitable, because I said, look, we need something that's going to mean that nothing inside there comes flying out when you go around the corner.
Yeah.
My wife went online, had a look, found those, and she quite liked the look of them, and I think they look quite nice.
Yeah, I think they fit really well. It's a very modern feel, like style in here with the curtains, the chrome rails. Is this like a little camera? Is this from the original vehicle? Do they still work?
Vehicle, the camera, and they do still work.
They still work. Awesome. So you've got a camera up there as well. So potentially you could always look back on family times and get some nice footage if you wanted to, some nice memories. A certain trip. That's awesome. All this is original.
Yeah, all original. Yeah.
Which is also really good because it goes from the blue suede into like a, I suppose like a vinyl kind of. But this will wipe down really well, especially above the cooking area. If you get any food splashes, everything at the back is easily wipe downable. Which is almost a must for campers and stuff. You can open the rear door, so you can get great ventilation through for that, and a nice cool breeze through the van. And yet again the same this side, and the same in the skylight. Do these speakers work? Is there like an audio system in here? Is it all factory or?
So what we've got, it's a factory stereo. We haven't made any changes to that. So the sound comes through those speakers. But the interesting thing we found as well is, I don't know if you can see that microphone there.
Oh yeah.
So if I want to annoy my wife and daughter when I'm driving, I can just start talking and that overrides the audio.
Awesome.
And they get my my awful out of tune singing coming through.
Awesome. So as you guys can see, as this is built, this is a VW factory built vehicle. This head unit and that is the same on the dash, the glove box, everything is the same as mine. The front panel, the bumpers, everything on the front end is basically exactly the same as my T5.1. Up here, is that like a little safe? Or
so inside there we have the CCTV recording equipment. So those cameras are connected.
Oh, okay.
A box which is in there for the
awesome. And I love the fact that everything like this is still in here. It's still usable and it's still functioning and it still works. Yeah. It looks like you've got like a pull down blind here. Yeah. Can I pull that down? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this original? Is this a sunscreen? Like a sunblock for the driver?
Yeah. I think that was originally there when we bought it, and I thought it'd be useful, so no need to take it out. Or
yeah, no, it works great because it's such a big screen, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And what's this? Just a first aid kit? Is this like
I just have some electrics, like the cable we use when we go on site in there. I have a battery charger and some things like that, really.
That's great little storage area that is, to be honest. One thing I wanted to touch on with this vehicle, I don't know much about these. Obviously you know a lot more about this than myself.
Yeah.
How does it work with purchasing this in terms of MOT, driving it? Do you need to have a rigid like class, or can you do it on a car license? How does that work, if you don't mind talking us through it maybe?
Absolutely. I think with regards to the MOT, they use a standard MOT, so it's not the next level up or anything.
It's not
like
commercial
that.
Or anything like that.
No,
okay.
So it's straightforward. I mean, obviously you got to make sure that the place you take it to can get something like this on a ramp.
Yeah.
You know, because they're fairly tall. Driving one of these, I don't need any special license or anything else. My wife can also drive it. I think the weight of these comes in at under, I think it says it on here, it's under 3.5 tons. So it's within the weight for. You know, you don't need a special license or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, this was originally used as like a London bus, we're going to call it. What happens with tax? Can you tax this normally? So, On the T5s and that, people
Yeah.
tend to, when they convert them, they try and get them as a camp on the logbook.
Okay, yeah.
How does it work with the logbook with this? Is it normal tax? Do you have to insure it as a disabled vehicle, or how does it work? Do you just explain you've done a conversion, or is it quite simple? Is it quite complicated?
Okay, so what we did when we bought it, because it had all disabled stuff in it, it was registered as a disabled vehicle. So obviously we had to change the class.
Yeah.
Now, what I did was, the first thing we did was spoke to our insurance company, and what they said was, well, look, if you want to change it to a motorhome on the V5, they said the DVLA are actually knocking back quite a lot
Yeah, they are.
of those at the moment. They said, however, if you wanted to change it to something like PLG,
Okay.
as long as you send us photos that demonstrate it's being used as a motorhome, then for insurance purposes, as far as they're concerned, they'd insure it as a motorhome.
That ticks all the boxes.
So what we did was sent that back to DVLA to change it to PLG.
Okay.
There's no fee for doing that, but the road taxes, I think, was £270 for 12 months, which is fairly fine.
So just for someone who doesn't know, is PLG like private light goods
That's
or
the
something?
one, sorry, yeah,
So
private light
yeah,
goods,
so
yeah.
PLG means private light goods vehicle. The insurance these days will work with you. So if you say to them, look, I've got this, I've done this, I've got photos, I've got reports of this and this, I've got receipts, this is what we use it for, generally they will work with you. So mine is insured as a fully fledged camper with windows, pop top, everything's reported in it. It's just not actually a camper on the logbook. So I'll just quickly show you around again. What floor is this, Andy? Is this like a vinyl, like a laminate floor, or?
Yes, yeah, not experts. We just.
Yeah, great. I love it. I absolutely love this. And here you've got a table as well, similar to what I've mentioned, can be used for all the same things as that side. Just some storage area that Andy said you can pull out and also use that to sit on. And if you had it here, you can also sit here and use this part of the table. Yeah. So it is using pretty much every part possible. At least 3 sides of this table, workspace, work area, can be used. One thing that I think's crucial, great little touch here, look, personal homely touches, which are great because when we're out in these and sleeping in them, living in them, you want them to feel as nice and as comfortable as possible. Little things like lighting for books at night and little charging points are an absolute must on a build like this.
And so charging is really important. I mean, we've got a daughter, she likes to use all of her gadgets. So when I put the power points in, I made sure we had the ones that had 2 USB ports on each of the points. So everything can be charged up.
So what a great point to add there. This day and age, if you are taking your kids with you, they've all got iPads and phones and all that kind of stuff, as well as us. So charging points and accessibility is a must, and something that you definitely need to consider and think about when you're doing a build, at least at the beginning. Draw it all out, lay it all out first, to know that at night you might be lying on the bed and you might think, oh, my phone's going now. So having a charging point around that area, having a light, is definitely a good little tip to take from Andy's build, because they've considered that and it does work well for them, because like you say, you know, you need those kind of things these days, don't you? Charging points and all that kind of stuff. One little thing Andy mentioned as well, obviously this being a public vehicle, this already had deep like night heaters in kind of thing. Is it what?
It's a diesel night heater and air conditioning as well. It's controlled by that panel just there, so you just set the temperature you want and it does it all for you, and so that's really useful as well.
Great. So what's that little monitor there, sorry?
So that monitor, it's a reverse camera.
Oh, okay.
It also has a sat nav and that sort of thing in it as
awesome.
well. So there's a remote control.
So these are such a user-friendly vehicle from the off, which is a great plus point of when you're building something like this. It's got so much electrics and extras in. The things that we have to buy and put in, like the diesel heaters and all that kind of stuff, it's already installed because they was built from the manufacturer with all these kind of luxuries in from the beginning. So reversing cameras, microphones so that you can scream at the kids in the back if they're playing up. Awesome. I love it, totally love it. You've got the rail here so you can put the curtain across and basically box this whole rear area in to make it super private and just personal, homely space. So just before we leave, a quick look round, just recapping. Single bed, double bed, got the original seats left in, one swivels and rotates, super hard wearing, super comfortable. Got the emergency toilet under there. You've got the IKEA cabinet, full size fridge, microwave, cooking area, food prep area. Got some really nice fancy curtains that pull across, definitely more fancy than my blackout stuff. You've got the homely feels, you've got your storage area, you've got your ventilation, you've got your skylights, you've got swage, you've got heaters, everything is in here. Even this, guys, I love how he's left the original framework in, and it is the public transport yellow that you would have on obviously just your general buses and stuff for your grab handles when you're getting up, things like that. There's got a nice glass sheet here, which I'm presuming is original by the look of the clamps and stuff, but the family have just got some vinyl stickers and stuff and put a personal touch on it, which is absolutely fantastic. Just in the front, obviously it's an automatic transmission, sitting on air ride airbags, which are fully adjustable through these control panels. You have speaker access to the back, you've got reverse cameras, you've got sat navs, you've got monitors being recorded so you can get footage off them and record your journey, your vlogs, your experiences with your family. Generally VW stuff throughout, similar to the T5 stuff, because obviously it's a VW vehicle. A bit of storage area there, a big open space here which originally was for access from the electric door, which now can just be used for anything you don't want in here at night, maybe even a bike, the kids' bike or something, could be left here and it's not left outside, it's all within the vehicle. Shut the door, close the curtains, and you're good for the night. So we're going to move back on outside now. I will go back around the vehicle just once more, and then I'll just touch on some of the exterior stuff that Andy and his family have done. As you can see there, guys, the windscreen is absolutely huge, and you'll remember that blind that I showed for the driver to pull down. That's why it's such a necessity, because the sunlight coming through there could easily dazzle the driver. You've got the original badge, super cool. And then we'll just I'll show you a rough. So he's obviously plugged in to the House 240 hookup at the moment. He's got his custom unique vinyl wrap all around the sides, which Andy and his family did themselves. They had the bonnet done just because it's a little bit more tricky with the shapes and curves. Here you've got the back doors that I might ask Andy to open shortly, if that's okay. You've got the reverse camera up there, and way up there is the most difficult part of the van, or the bus, sorry, to wash, because that has got to be a task in itself. So obviously this is the bus. How do you find, because I look at that, Andy, and I look at the roof and think that's, do you hire scaffolding every time you wash it? How do you wash the roof? I presume you've got brushes and things. Yeah. I struggle with a T5, and this, I think he probably washes it from the upstairs window.
Probably.
I mean, how do you overcome that task?
I just use a ladder, you know.
Just use a ladder, yeah.
It's a pain, but look, it's the only way you could do it. Really.
Yeah. Because it is high. Obviously, I've mentioned, guys, this is the height. I'm 6 foot, so it gives you a kind of rough idea of the height. But like he said, he just gets on a ladder and maybe a broom on like one of those washable.
And that's it. With some water and.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's go on the outside, Andy.
Yeah.
Kind of like quite a unique custom wrap here. Is there any particular reason behind that? Was it just to put your own personal touch on it, or? Yeah,
we wanted to put our own personal touch on it, and we also wanted something that was a bit fun, you know. And so we thought, well, maybe we'll get some vinyl wrap, and looked online, as we did with everything with this build, looked online, and there was a company that do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so we worked out how much we'd need, picked a design that we liked. They put the wrap together, sent it to us, and we had a go at doing it ourselves. I think it was a bit tricky, but I think we're happy enough with the result. Not being experts,
yeah,
we're happy with that.
It looks awesome. Yeah, I love that. So it's basically just adding a fun factor to your vehicle that you guys have built to enjoy life, enjoy the memories with your kids growing up, things like that, and just, you know, add a little bit of positivity and good energy to life, which I think is absolutely fantastic. They've left a few of the original stickers on also, which I think is a nice touch, because I presume that is from obviously the original. Yes. Yeah, so would you mind opening these back doors? Is that something that we could just
absolutely, yeah.
Look at the access from the back in terms of just opening it up for space and some breathing room. And then down here, do you mind me just pointing this out?
No, absolutely.
Down here, there's obviously storage area, which yet again in these vehicles is a must, because we all take extra awnings or beds and mattresses, towels, and sometimes you do need something that you can just stick away, out of sight, out of mind. I carry emergency first aid kits and things like that, so that if there ever is an incident with your family, one of your family members, someone on site, a road traffic accident in front of you, I can help out that person in need, or potentially allow someone to help me, which I think is crucial. So one point that Andy's just mentioned is, you said that the fuel consumption on this is quite good. It's not like you would imagine it to be.
No, I mean, when we go away, we're going away to enjoy ourselves. So we're not putting our foot down, we're just taking it nice and steady.
Yeah.
But I think this gets sort of about 35 miles a gallon, something like that.
That's better than some of mine does. So there you go. Andy and his family kind of bought this almost blind, not knowing too much about them. There's two things Andy has told me which is crucial, and I wanted to put it out in the video to help you guys in case you feel you want to build your own. And that is, they bought this blind and just kind of like was like, whatever, you know, we're building it, we're buying it to enjoy ourselves. Although fuel economy is kind of something that everyone is concerned of, there was like, you know what, if it ends up being 80 miles per gallon, we're not bothered because of what it offers us, enjoying our life, getting the memories with the family and things. Didn't matter so much. He actually gets probably better fuel economy than I'm getting in my T5 at the moment, so that annoys me slightly. But another point that he did mention was, when he bought this, he joined a group, a Facebook group for these Bluebird vehicles. So if you're buying a Sprinter, a combo, I'm sure there's other groups available to you. And because he was not an expert, because he'd never built a camper before, and because he'd never worked on one of these before, all he did, if he had any doubts or any questions, queries, you asked on the forums.
Yeah, asked on the forums, and I think it saved us a load of hassle and a load of cash as well, because there are some things I probably would have been concerned about attempting on my own. But you know, when you speak to people who have been there, done that, and they pass their experience on to you, it just gives you that confidence that you can do
it's that reassurance. And that was one of the main reasons that I started the video how-tos in the first place, because a lot of people who do want to do their own, they can't afford companies, but also they want the pride knowing that they're going camping in something that they've built and something they've achieved like this. Again, that is a crucial tip, and Andy said that it has helped him and his family during this build, during this journey. So potentially, if you're looking to do the same, I would definitely recommend joining some groups and having a look at who's out there, who's done it, pick their brains, go on YouTube, use their knowledge and experience to help you achieve greatness like this. So I'll put you down over here. So guys, that's the end of this one. Obviously on this feature series, I've given you guys a complimentary mug for coming on and allowing me to feature your awesome, unique, built or bought vehicles. So that is just a nice little complimentary gift. A thank you from me to Andy. So Andy, that is for you.
Thank you
very much.
Excellent.
I won't shake your hand, maybe give you
a...
So thank you for watching guys. Please like, subscribe, it helps me out a lot. I'll see you in the next one.